Alright guys, what is going on, and welcome back to the Bit of Footy YouTube channel. In today's video we're going to be running through my round number 9 tips for the 2025 AFL Premiership season. Now before we do that, let's take a look and see how I did back in round number 8. Alright, as you can see on the screen right here, I got 5 out of 9 tips correct back in round number 8. The tips I got incorrect were the Freo tip, the Pies tip, the Giants tip, and the Suns tip. Every other tip I did in fact get correct, and that currently has me in 25th spot in my own tipping comp, and I'm on a total score of 42 points. In first spot we have Mr. Ray White again, who got 6 out of 9 tips correct last round and is on a total score of 52 points. But yeah, let's not waste any more time. Let's take a look and see what my tips are for round number 9 of the 2025 AFL Premiership season. Alright, we kick things off tonight at Optus Stadium, Thursday night footy. We've got the Dockers taking on my Pies. The Dockers are coming off a disappointing loss to the hands of the Saints. My Pies are coming off a devastating 3-point loss to the hands of the Cats. This will be an interesting game, in my opinion. We've got 4 big outs coming into this game. We've got no Pendles, no DeGoey, no Myercheck, and no Maynard. So it'll be interesting to see how we go against the Dockers, who will obviously be looking to bounce back after that disappointing performance last week against the Saints. Tipping wise, I'm going to go the Dockers in this one by a margin of 17 points for the reason I just gave before. I felt like the Dockers, they were just disappointing last week, and yeah, like I said, they'll want to bounce back from that and be better this week, and I feel like they're going to put on a better performance at home as well this week against us. So yeah, tipping wise, I'm going to go the Dockers by 17, but in my heart I'm still going to be backing in my Pies. So yeah, tipping wise, Dockers by 17. In my heart, the Pies. Come on, the Pies, please. Next up, we head to the MCG for Friday night footy and Spud's game. We've got St Kilda taking on Carlton. And if you haven't already, make sure to donate to Spud's Foundation as well. It's a really good cause, obviously. But game-wise, the Saints are coming into this game off the back of that win over the Dockers. The Blues, they're coming into this game off that disappointing loss to the Crows. I'm going to be tipping the Saints in this one by a margin of only 16 points. I do feel like St Kilda, they always play well at the MCG, and they always play well in Spud's game as well. So yeah, I reckon they'll be up and about for this challenge against the Blues at the G, and we'll get the job done by a margin of only 16 points, because I do feel like the Blues, they'll be much more competitive in this game than they were last week against the Crows. Then we move on to the Saturday games. We kick it off at the MCG for Saturday Arvo footy. We've got Melbourne taking on Hawthorn. Melbourne, they're coming off that win over the Eagles. The Hawks, they're coming off that win over the Tigers. I'm going to be going the Hawks only by a margin of 20 points, because I can see this being a good contested tight game of footy. And yeah, I can sort of see it being like a mid-scoring game, not really a high-scoring affair. But yeah, in the end, I feel like Hawthorn will be a little bit too good for the Ds, like they have been this season. Hawthorn have been the better side than the Ds have been this season. So yeah, I'm going to go Hawthorn in this one by a margin of 20 points over the Ds. Then we move on to Marvel Stadium for the game between Essendon and Sydney. Essendon, they're coming off that 3-point win over the Roos. Sydney, they're coming off that Battle of the Bridge win over the Giants. I feel like this should be a decent game, and I feel like these two always play well against each other, especially at Marvel Stadium. And I wouldn't be really shocked if Essendon were to win this game, because they have beaten Sydney before in previous years at Marvel Stadium, at the G, etc., in Melbourne and Victoria. But I feel like the Swans, they're going to take a lot of confidence from that win over the Giants last round and bring it into this game and beat the Bombers by a margin of 22 points in this one. Next up, we head to Darwin, TIO Stadium, where we've got the Suns taking on the Dogs. The Suns, they're coming off that Q-Clash loss against the Lions. The Dogs, they're coming off that big 90-point win over the Power last round. I think this should be a decent game. Both teams have been playing some decent footy as of late. The Dogs, also, they've won 3 in a row coming into this game. And yeah, I feel like they're going to win this game, the Dogs. I'm backing in the Dogs in this one by a margin of 18 points. I feel like they've gained a lot of confidence over the last few weeks, especially with the likes of Bontempelli and Treloar returning last week as well. So yeah, I'm gonna go the Dogs in this one by a margin of only 18 points. I do feel like the Suns, they'll be competitive, especially in Darwin, where they've won a lot of their games previously, but I feel like the Dogs this time will get the win over the Suns here. Then we head to the last game on the Saturday. It is the showdown at the Adelaide Oval, of course. It is Port Adelaide taking on Adelaide. Port Adelaide, they're coming off that disappointing 90-point loss to the hands of the Dogs. The Crows, they're coming off a big win margin-wise over the Blues. I feel like this is going to be a close game, and I hope it is, because it's always a good watch when a showdown is close. But I feel like, the Power, they'll be disappointed with how they played last week, considering weeks prior, heading into that game against the Dogs last round, they were actually playing some decent footy, and when they played the Dogs last round, they just didn't play that well. I mean, they started okay, but past that, they didn't play that well. So I feel like they want to bounce back from that and put on a good show in this showdown, especially it being their home showdown as well. But in the end, I feel like the Crows will just get over the line in this one by a margin of 8 points. Then we move on to the Sunday games. We kick it off at the MCG, 1:10 p.m. start time. We've got the Tigers taking on the Eagles. The Tigers, they're coming off that loss to the hands of the Hawks. The Eagles, they're coming off that loss to the hands of the D's. Should be an interesting game, this one, to see, how both teams go against each other. But I am going to be going the Tigers in this one. I feel like the Tigers this season have been a lot more competitive than the Eagles have in their games. And yeah, the Tigers, they've won 2 games this season. The Eagles, they're yet to win one. So yeah, I feel like the Tigers will get up in this one by a margin of 23 points over the Eagles. Then we head to one of the games that I'm really looking forward to, and I'm actually heading to as well. It is the Cats taking on the Giants at GMHBA Stadium. This will actually be the first time I'll be watching a footy game at GMHBA Stadium. I've been there before for like A-League games when Western United used to play there, but never for an AFL game. So this will be my first time watching an AFL game at the Cattery, and it should be a ripper. The Cats, they're coming into this game after a 3-point win over my Pies, sadly, and the Giants, they're coming into this game after a loss against the Swans. But the Giants, we all know that they love playing at GMHBA Stadium. They tend to pick up wins at GMHBA Stadium as well, and I feel like they're going to do it again. It's going to be a close one, though, I reckon. I reckon the Giants win just by a margin of 4 points in this one. And then next up, to finish off the round, we've got North Melbourne taking on Brisbane. North Melbourne, they're coming off that 3-point loss to the hands of the Bombers. Brisbane, they're coming off that Q-Class win over the Suns. Not much to say about this game. I think the Lions will be too good in this one for the Roos. Hopefully North Melbourne can be competitive in this game like they have been competitive in their last 2 games against the Power and the Bombers, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think the Lions will be too good and get the job done in this one over the Roos by a margin of 32 points down in Tassie. And yeah, those are all my tips done and dusted for this round of footy. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you for another video very soon. Cheers.